Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sadler-Jones. I'm the Assistant City Administrator, and I'd like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, April 13th, 2016 at 10 o'clock a.m. Board members present: to my left is Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works, and to his left is Brian Marcos, the Deputy Fire Chief. Christiana Craddock is the Executive Assistant to the City Administrator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, variance request V16013, allow reduction of wall sign on the west side of building to the northwest side of building. Allow relocation of wall sign on the west side of building to the north side of building, 0.83 acres, land lot 347, 2316 South Cobb Drive, Waffle House Incorporated. Is someone from Waffle House here? Okay, can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name and tell us about your variance request?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Sanford McAllister. I work for the Waffle House Company out of Norcross, Georgia. And the variance that we are seeking is to relocate the allowable signage that's been permitted from the western wall that faces Old Concord to the northern wall, which also faces Old Concord. And the reasons that we have stated in the application and the information that we've shared with you all is the visibility is much better for a longer period of time for travelers who would ultimately be able to see the sign.
Any questions for the applicant?
Who's Martha Church?
Martha Church is a colleague of mine.
Okay. So basically you're just going to move the sign that was going to could be planned for the rear to that.
To the northern facade, yes,
Same
sir.
sign.
Yes, sir, same sign. And as a matter of fact, as has been stated in the staff's recommendation, we're actually allocating less than the allowable signage by about a third. We're putting the standard sign package for proportionality, as you've seen in the package. I think you included this, and then this was the diagram that illustrates the longer sight line as visible by the actual yellow line for potential customers and passersby to see it for a longer period of time and have be able to slow down and hopefully turn in from Old Concord to our business.
All right. Well, at this time, we'll have comments by the staff.
Good morning. This request is for the new Waffle House restaurant at 2316 South Cobb. It is a vacant parcel that we've approved building plans for a new restaurant there. The request is to allow the wall sign on the west side of the building to be relocated to the north side of the building. Sign ordinance allows a wall sign 40 square feet in area for any portion of the building with public road frontage. So for this building, it would allow a 40 square foot wall sign on the east, the west side and the east side. No, they're not asking for any additional signage, or they're not asking for an increase in signage, just to relocate what's already approved to be moved to the side of the building so that there is greater visibility for oncoming motorists so they can spot the restaurant and have time to make the turn in for the access drive. We've had no citizen complaints or comments about this request. Don't think it would set a negative precedent because we're not allowing extra signage or larger signage. We're just allowing them to relocate it to a spot that will promote health, safety, welfare. So we're recommending approval with no conditions.
Okay. Any questions for the staff? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V16-013 to allow the relocation of a wall sign on the west side of the building to the north side of the building, 0.83 acres, land lot 347, 2316 South Cobb Drive, Waffle House.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V16013. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16014, allow auto sales in general commercial zoning below the minimum 2-acre land acre requirement, 1.5 acres, land lot 346, 2465, 2491, 2480, 2490 Ventura Place, and 2490 Ventura Place. Philip Howard is the applicant. Mr. Howard, can you step to the podium, please? And for the record, can you state your name and also tell us about your variance request?
Yes, good morning. My name is Phil Howard. Most of y'all know I'm with Howard's Record Service. We've occupied this property since the middle 70s, or the majority of it. We've also, over the years, acquired a couple other parcels. Right now, what we're trying to do is obtain a dealer's license so that the business model that we have envisioned is it's more along the line of a brokerage, obviously in a cul-de-sac. If you're familiar with the area, the cul-de-sac that we're in, it's not a drive-by situation. So a typical car lot, per se, would be advantageous to have drive-by traffic. There is no drive-by traffic here. Obviously, it's a dead-end cul-de-sac. So really what we're looking to do is basically buy and sell cars through the auction, through the internet, to other dealers. So it's more along the line of a wholesale situation. We're not going to have the flags, the balloons, the signs, the cars in the parking lot, that kind of thing. It's not a typical used car lot. We're not planning on having a car lot where the public would come in and see cars or have to have parking or anything like that. Everything's primarily going to be done either off property or online. And basically we just want to use the house as the existing house structure that is sitting vacant as an office, and the adjacent storage lot for parking of the vehicles that we do acquire that we have to bring in for inspection or temporary storage or whatever the case may be, as far as holding a few cars for a short period of time. So, and I realize that the total acreage is below what the minimum is. I believe the minimum is in line with what the county requires. This property has been zoned general commercial for forever. And, you know, we were, I guess, grandfathered in as the towing service way back when. And a year ago, we actually relocated our towing service and body shop operation down off of Riverview Road. We still utilize a lot. I've got a couple of trailers and a car parked there right now, but right now it's really not being used. We're just looking for a way to try to utilize the property to try to basically make a profit on it. I know that there's been a few attempts there at trying to have, like, there was an attorney's office there at one time. There was actually a security office there at one time, and you know, again, if you're familiar with the area, it's not the most desired area for a commercial, and it can't be used as residential. So it's just one of those kind of areas that it's just kind of interesting in how it could be used. So I do feel like it is a reasonable use of the property, the request that we're making. Again, We're just trying to get a dealer's license, and this was part of the process, is that we had to get approval from the city to have the license. So,
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, at this time, we'll have statements by the staff.
sure.
This variance request is for a reduction of the minimum 2-acre requirement for auto sales in general commercial zoning. The subject properties cumulative total is about 1.87 acres. One of these properties has a business operating in the building, which accounts for 0.29 acres. And we've subtract that in our analysis to effectively there's 1.58 acres that would be able to be utilized for any kind of auto sales, which in our analysis would be too far below the minimum to reduce the acreage requirement and would undermine the ordinance, the regulation of that 2-acre requirement for auto sales. And that would be auto sales for sale for retail purchase, where customers come to the lot to look at, buy. For auto brokers, if that's the intent of what they're trying to pursue there, we allow auto brokers to have an office without cars for sale on the lot, meaning it's a third-party intermediary doing business transactions from a wholesaler to another end buyer, but the transactions don't take place on that property. So that would be the limitation if that's what the applicant's trying to pursue. Typically we don't allow cars to be stored on auto brokers' property because there's no way to regulate whether they're being sold as a retail operation at that location or not. So I think we have an affidavit for auto brokers that they don't store or sell vehicles on property. So that's the distinction there. Again, in our analysis, we recommended denial simply because it's so far below the minimum requirement that would undermine that regulation.
Any questions?
All right, so our ordinance indicates that auto brokers, strictly an auto broker, does not have the vehicles that he's brokering on the premises.
Correct.
So
It's
basically an
mainly
auto
an
broker
office.
is somebody in a building somewhere doing his transactions, however, and there's no vehicle around.
Correct.
Do we have any of those in the city?
We have a lot of auto brokers that we've issued licenses to. And we just don't allow cars for sale on premise.
But the intent for this variance was that the applicant was doing auto sales, wholesale, retail, broker, or whatever.
I was looking for the
Initially.
definition, but essentially we consider if cars are stored on a property, then it is then auto sales. It's only auto broker if there's no cars on premise. It's just an office.
So, Mr. Howard, your intent is that you will have cars on the property.
That was our business plan, was to have, because we have the lots next door on either side of the office or the house that we're intending on using as the office. Our intent was to have the ability to have cars, or have the option to have cars there that were going through the business. Whether, like I say, we were wanting to buy most of them through auctions and then either sell them online or sell them to other dealers, was our primary goal here. Okay. This is kind of new to us. This is kind of something I'm being told. So, gentleman may be right as far as what the broker definition is. I just used that terminology because that's kind of in my mind more of what I thought our process would be, since we're not going to have the traditional car lot. I mean, I'm not going to have cars on display. I'm not going to have, like I say, the banners and the balloons and all that. So, because I don't want to work on Saturday, and that's when most of those folks want to buy cars. So,
right. Okay.
But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had a quick question as well. With the reduction in acreage that it's below, you reduced it through your analysis, that one that's currently occupying a business, is, how did you come up with that? If that was vacant, I'm assuming that's Mr. Howard's property with a business in it. So if there was no business there and it's at 1.8 as far as the acreage, is there been variances approved where the acreage has been that close to that 2 acre?
Not that I'm aware of. I did not see any variances approved for a reduction in the acreage minimum for car sales of any kind.
So Joey, we're looking at a variance for auto sales, but then the brokerage definition came in. I mean, are we addressing the correct variance?
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's when there's cars stored, it is a car lot, and that requires the 2 acre minimum, whether it's broker or sales.
I'm looking at this like if he's strictly broker, then the variance would be to allow the storage of vehicles on the property, period, versus this one where you have to have 2 acres to sell vehicles. So, I mean,
You're right. If it would be a different request if it was, the intent was auto broker. It would be to allow cars to be stored on premise for auto broker.
question for Mr. Howard. So that's my dilemma here is, are we addressing the correct variance? Are you going to do the broker thing strictly, or are you going to do auto sale? If I drove up and saw that nice shiny car and said, hey, I want to buy it,
well, I don't know
available?
As a businessman, I don't know that I'd turn you away.
Right.
I really don't have a clear understanding, and I've been to one of the pre-licensing classes, and I'm still waiting on some answers from the License Review Board, I guess, because what I understand and what I think he explained a while ago was that if I'm a broker, I can't do the actual transactions on the property. And the whole point of having the office there was to have all my files and computers and phones and everything there so I could do my transactions on the property. So if it comes to a point to where it's an either or, I probably will have to choose just not to have any cars there. That, I think from a standpoint of the way we want us to try to set it up, that would work better for me. So then that would go back to, I guess, my original variance request as to the reduction in size, if I think.
Yeah, clarify.
Sure.
If it's auto broker, there is no acreage requirement. And what I mean by transactions taking place on the property is actual person to person inspecting the car, doing the normal things of auto sales. If it's strictly paperwork business transactions within that office, then yes, that is allowed under the guise of auto broker.
Right. And he wouldn't even be up here.
Right. There just would not be cars
Correct.
allowed on premise.
Okay.
So we've got choices here. We've got a choice to either move forward with this variance hearing, or you come back, or you say, "Hey, I'm doing broker work. I'm just need an office. Do the paperwork transitions is all I'm doing," and you go back and see community development.
So in that situation, I wouldn't need the variance. Is what you're thinking?
Correct.
Okay. So if we,
If you
I guess I just need
if
to get it
you
clear in
understand
my
that the broker, you can't have the cars there. Period. It's just a business transaction.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I guess.
Or if you want
at
to
this
think
point-
about it, then we have the ability to table this for a couple
why don't
more
we
weeks.
do that? If that is acceptable, let's table it and let me have another conversation and see if we can make it work that way.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, that's fine. I was trying to look at my dates here. Well, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion for tabling this item until is April 27th?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Is April 27th enough time for you? Is that in 2 weeks from today? Okay. Until April 27th.
Make a motion to table variance request V16-014, allow auto sales in general commercial zoning below the minimum 2-acre land area requirement. 1.85 acres, land lot 346, 2465, 2491, 2480, 2490, Ventura Place. Table this motion to April 27th meeting.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we table variance request V16014 until Wednesday, April 27th. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16015, allow reduction of driveway setback from 5 feet to 0 feet, 0.53 acres, land lot 558, 3121 Northview Place. David Sutherland is the applicant. Good morning.
Good morning.
For the record, can you state your name and then tell us about your variance request?
Certainly. My name is David Sutherland. Last year I bought a home on 3121 Northview Place and desire to build a attached garage at the rear of the home. And currently the home has a concrete driveway that runs up to the side of the home that is poured all the way to the property line. And my desire for this variance is to be able to continue that driveway on back to this new attached garage. And it really don't work unless you can match the existing and have zero setback on this extension to the driveway, if you will.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, at this time, we'll have our staff make comments.
The applicant's requesting a reduction of the driveway setback from 5 feet to 0 feet at 3121 Northview Place. There's an existing single-family home there with the driveway that's currently to the up to the side property line. The applicant is proposing to extend that driveway, continuing it along the side property line so that it will provide access to a attached garage that's in the rear of the property. And this driveway is proposed to continue all the way to the rear of the property so that it can be used for a turnaround back out of the garage and then drive straight up the existing driveway. So that requires a reduction in the driveway setback to 0 feet. There's an existing fence along the side of the property line that's approximately 3 feet off the side property line. Visually, it will look like there is some distance off the side property line because of that alignment, unless that fence was moved. Then it would look like it's right on the property line. To the rear of the property, there's another subdivision. It's the Collier Place subdivision. Those homes have a rear alley that they use for access to their garages. So essentially this proposed driveway connects to that rear access drive. In light of that, we've recommended that a fence be installed. There may be one there already, I'm not sure, but that a fence be installed along the rear property line and that no through traffic is allowed from that access drive to the driveway, which connects cul-de-sac to cul-de-sac. We don't want it to become a road, essentially. So we have recommended approval with those 3 conditions. That approval of the variance is conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan submitted. 2, a 6-foot privacy fence is installed along the rear property line. And 3, no through traffic is allowed from the private access alley in Collier Place subdivision to the proposed driveway on the subject property. This variance, this proposed driveway doesn't require any other variances for impervious surface maximum or anything else. The garage is already permitted. It met all the requirements for that. This request is just for the reduction of the driveway setback.
Mr. Sutherland, are you, do you agree to the 3 conditions as stated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You got a question?
I guess question for the applicant.
Yes, sir.
What's the, I mean, as staff had mentioned, I guess your proposed driveway, and I guess the area that I guess goes back toward Collier Place, and he indicates that you're going to connect your driveway to their access alley.
Just to be clear, I own a home in Collier Place.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm connecting to my own property, if you will.
Oh, okay.
That was the purpose of buying this, to have a little more land for my kids. And clearly I won't have any through traffic because...
You don't want
Yeah.
So, because I thought, okay, if you didn't know, if the connection wasn't there, then I don't see any reason for a 6-foot fence. But
No, and I fully intend to put a locking gate there because I don't want my 5-year-old out there playing. But just so we're clear, I own both properties. So,
looking at this survey, I guess you had done when you bought the property or whatever, you've got some encroachments of your fence on the north side. It's not your fault; they were already there.
yes, sir.
Any way to remove those encroachments? Because I think the city owns that property to the north of you now.
That's correct. I'm not sure whose fence that is, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. If you don't think it's yours, can I take it down? Can the city take it down?
I don't know how I could say no. I'd rather it not be down because obviously I'm trying to.
Well, I'm just through this process and all the work you're going to do. We need to go ahead and clean this up.
Right.
So I don't. And I was going to ask you, is it your fence or is it now the city since we bought that property? You don't know. Probably.
It's funny because that fence actually goes from, being on your property to being on my property. It kind of goes at a diagonal, if you will. So, I'm certainly open to let's resolve it. I don't know what y'all's intention is on that property. I know you bought that home and have some ideas, but
a lot of intentions for that property. And
sure.
I thought, well, you want to clean it up now while you're doing this work.
Okay.
I don't mind, just because my name tag says I'm part of the world. I can take it down for you if that makes it easier for you, but I like to get it cleaned up.
If you want a fence there of some kind, then obviously we got to come back and put something back up on the property line, I guess, if you will. I guess I would prefer to leave it alone, but I know that's your.
Well, it's in jeopardy with the plans that we may have for that property, and I'm just giving you a heads up because basically we're going to say if it's not yours, we're going to take it down. If it's yours, you got to take it down eventually.
How do you know?
You don't. Other than it's on our property, we're going to claim it as ours. So just giving you that heads up.
Okay, all right. I guess I need to explore how to do that and get a fence contractor to tell me, hey.
However you want to.
Yeah, certainly. I'll look into that.
Okay.
Glad to.
All right. Any other questions? This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V16-015, allow the reduction of the driveway setback from 5 feet to 0 feet, 0.53 acres, land lot 558-3121 Northview Place.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V16015. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Next item is approval of the March 23rd, 2016 License and Variance Board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the the approval of the minutes of the March 23rd License and Variance Board meeting minutes.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the meeting minutes from March the 23rd, 2016. All in favor, please vote. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at what time is it? 10:32 a.m. Thank you.